Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Soo, returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
Hi, I'm Jessie Prey.
And I'm Andy Cassette. Welcome to Love Murder, where we unravel the darkest tales of romance turned deadly.
Our episodes are long-form, narrative-driven, and deeply researched. Perfect for the true crime aficionados seeking stories beyond the headlines.
Like the chilling case of Blanche Taylor Moore, the so-called Black Widow who left a trail of poisoned lovers.
Or the shocking murders of Chad Shelton and Dwayne Johnson, where family ties masked a sinister plot.
Subscribe to Love Murder on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 427 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing great. You and I just had a conversation off air about cell phones.
We did.
And kids, and how long your kids should stay on your cell phone plan.
We did have that conversation.
You know, what is the magic number? I don't know.
Yeah.
To them, I think the magic number is as long as they possibly can.
They're like, is there a cell phone plan I'm on? I just figured it was just a cell phone and just, yeah.
I just thought I'd stay on yours forever.
Exactly.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Mariella.
Hey, Mariella.
Beth Carson.
What's going on, Carson?
Dale Lynn McCubbin.
What's happening, McCubbins?
Candy.
Oh, good old Candy.
Cindy Toth.
Hey, Toth.
Carly Tate.
Hey, there's Tate.
And Peggy Deal Higgins.
Deal Higgins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We appreciate the new support. And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Morgan Wicks.
Hey, Morgan.
So we appreciate that long-term support as well. We also had a great PayPal donation from Parker Derenbecker.
There's Parker.
So thanks to Parker. Gibbs, right now we have a brand new episode out on True Crime All the Time where we're talking about the disappearance of 15-year-old Sierra Lamar. She left home to walk to her bus stop and was never seen again. A man named Antolin Garcia Torres was convicted of her murder, but Sierra's never been found. So there's a lot going on in this episode.
There really is.
All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am ready.
We're talking about the disappearance of Jón Jónsson. And I'll be right up front. I believe that's how you say his name. Most of the pronunciations we heard were that. But we did hear some that were Jón Jónsson, but we're going with Jón Jónsson.
I believe it's Jan. That's why it has that little, when you look at the name in print, has that little squiggly line above the
sure,
O.
Sure.
And that normally means to say it as Jan.
That made no sense whatsoever. In February 2019, Jón Jónsson traveled from his home in Iceland to Dublin, Ireland, to participate in a poker tournament. A day and a half into his trip, Jan walked out of his hotel and was never seen again. So, we already know we're going to have some mystery here.
Sure.
Jan was a 41-year-old father of 4. He was previously married, but at the time of his disappearance, he was engaged to a woman named Kristana Gudjon's daughter. Jón's family described him as a dependable person. He worked as a taxi driver. If he was going to have a late night, he always let his family know so they wouldn't worry about him.
That's the right thing to do.
It is, but, let's face it, not everyone is like that. Some people are very selfish, self-centered. All they really care about is what they have going on. They don't think about the others in their life. Hey, somebody might worry if I'm late.
So I'll give him a quick call and let him know.
Which is the right thing to do.
It is.
Jón's brother Daniel told Dublin Live that he was a lovely guy, a lovely family member. Jón took care of Daniel when he was a baby, so they had a very close bond. Jón was also generous. His sister, Thorin, Jón's daughter, described how Jón paid for her college graduation dress because she couldn't afford one at the time.
That's a good brother.
Well, he does sound like a great guy. And people in his family are saying that he was. He and his sister had their first children within 6 months of each other, and Jón opened his home to her. Thorin said about her brother, his doors are always open. His arms always extended. He will always listen. He's not a man of many words, but the silences are always comfortable. And I thought that was a very interesting statement.
Yeah, you have some of those qualities, not all of those qualities.
Not all of those. I'm not a man of many words, although I do most of the talking on the podcast.
And your doors are never open.
That is for sure not me.
Believe me, I've tried to get in when you're not here, and I can't find one of them.
One of Jón's interests was poker. Now, Iceland has strict laws against gambling, but people do operate private poker clubs with certain restrictions. Jón was a member of one of these poker clubs. In early 2019, Jón acted as treasurer for a poker tournament in Reykjavik that gave players admittance to the Dublin Poker Festival.
Sounds like a good club to belong to.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Jón and his fiancée, Christiana, planned a trip to Dublin for February 2019. It was Jón's first time ever going to Ireland. Sources didn't specify if it was also Christiana's first time there. They booked a room at the Bonington Hotel on Swords Road in Whitehall on the northern outskirts of Dublin's inner city. They planned on staying for 10 days and visiting tourist spots. And I know I've mentioned it to you before. Scotland, Ireland. These are places that I would really like to visit.
I know. You really need to make that happen.
And if I could drive there, I probably would have already done
it. you and thousands of others.
But the idea of being on a plane for that long is not that appealing to me.
Just get you a good tranquilizer.
Like one of those elephant tranquilizers?
Yeah. And you just wake you up when you get there.
I mean, your description of your 10-plus hour flight to Greece is...
doesn't have you all warm and fuzzy
it didn't
get on
help.
a plane?
It didn't help. Let's put it that way. Jón flew to Dublin on February 8th, 2019. Christiana had planned to fly out with him, but she discovered her passport was missing from their safe the night before. Jón checked the safe that day, but didn't mention anything was missing, if he even noticed her passport was missing. Despite her being upset, Jón flew to Dublin without her. Christiana was able to get an emergency passport and booked a flight for February 9th. Now that would really stink, right? You have this flight planned and the night before you can't find your passport.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing. One, you're going to be upset because you're going to potentially miss your trip, but probably going to be upset too with whoever had your passport last and said they put it in the safe.
Now, are you also going to be upset when your fiance says, well, you know what, I'm just going to go on ahead?
Hey, you got the ticket, but, hey, I'll get there.
I'm just going by like my relationship. I know for a fact my wife would never talk to me again.
Oh, you're right.
If I did that.
She'd say, if I don't go, you don't go.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she was able to get an emergency one pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Jón arrived safely in Dublin and took a taxi from the airport to the hotel that was hosting the poker tournament. CCTV footage showed him playing into the early morning hours of February 9th, 2019. And that's another factor maybe, right? And why he chose to go without her. Maybe he couldn't miss the start of the poker tournament or whatever.
Maybe he didn't want to lose his seat, however it worked over there.
That could have been a part of it. Jón called Christiana briefly on her way to the airport from a foreign number because he was having an issue with his phone. They continued texting as she waited at her gate. She arrived in Dublin just 90 minutes before Jón would go missing. When she got to the hotel, he wasn't answering her calls or texts. She found him sleeping in their room. She later said she was frustrated when she learned Jón lost a significant amount of money the night before, which he didn't disclose over text.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation to have, especially you already know that your girlfriend, fiancée, wife is already upset with you because you went on the trip without her. And then you have to tell her that, hey, by the way, babe, I already went through half the money I brought or more on the first night.
Yeah, I could see why maybe he wanted to wait on that. Yeah, I know I left you in Iceland, so went without you. Maybe we'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Or the good news is I'll probably be back there before you need to take your flight over here because we're out of money. Got to go. See you. Bye.
They had a brief exchange before she left the room to smoke a cigarette. She first decided to stop in the hotel lobby to get a coffee at the bar. After she left the room, Jón got dressed and headed downstairs. At 11:05 a.m., Jón walked past the hotel bar and out the front door. Christiana thought she heard Jón's voice and someone calling her name as she waited for her coffee, but she dismissed it because she was in a foreign city and no one knew her there. Okay, I just want to stop for a minute and kind of point out how strange this is. Right? He leaves without her. He gets over there. He loses a good deal of money. She gets there, goes down to get a coffee. He gets up and leaves the hotel.
It sounds like he saw her, yells out her name, but she decides not to recognize that and turn around. But I'm trying to figure out, where was he going in such a rush that he couldn't have simply walked over there and said, hey, babe, I need to be over here, or I'm going over here, just wanted you to know.
Or sent a text or made a call or something. That just jumped out as strange to me. At 11:07 a.m., CCTV captured Jón walking past McGettigan's bar, exiting onto Swords Road and heading north towards the junction with Collins Avenue, close to Whitehall Church. He was captured on CCTV, passing the entrance to Highfield Nursing Home, which is immediately adjacent to Bonington Hotel, about 200 meters. It's believed he made it to the gates of the nearby Highfield Healthcare Facility. After this, there are no further confirmed recordings or sightings.
And this is where the mystery begins.
Yeah, absolutely. After finishing her coffee, Christiana went outside the hotel's front entrance to smoke and saw a man who looked like Jón walking towards the main road. She told Icelandic public broadcaster RTE, "What would have happened if I had just called his name? Would it change everything?" Yeah, this moment haunts me.
I get that.
No, I do too. She believes that this could have been him. It kind of looked like him, but she didn't call out to him. Now, later on, when he doesn't come back, that moment in time is going to take on a much bigger significance.
Yeah, and when you tell the story to everybody too, they're going to say, why didn't you call out to him? I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah, maybe she was still upset with him leaving without her. Maybe she was upset that he had lost a bunch of money. You just don't know, right? Maybe she just needed a coffee to clear her head.
Which a lot of people do need that.
Me especially, more than most. And that's one of the things I'm going to miss about CrimeCon this year. I'm not able to go. Every year I have that special someone.
You do.
Who brings me coffee.
Yes, you do.
She knows who she is.
Yep.
And I love her very dearly.
And I don't drink coffee, but yet you're tasking me with drinking that coffee when she comes by this year.
Yes, you will now have to drink the coffee.
And I just don't know how that will react with my system. Just,
We'll see. We'll see. Christiana played poker alone that day, but became worried when Jón didn't come back to the hotel. She texted him several times and received no response. At 6 p.m., she went to the front desk to show the staff a picture of Jón, but they hadn't seen him since the morning. On the morning of February 10th, Christiana went to the closest police station to report Jón missing. She felt the police didn't take her seriously. She explained their attitude was like, he's probably just playing poker. He's probably somewhere having fun or something like that. I tried to explain he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't just leave me alone in some country I don't know and go have fun. That attitude I got always was, he'll come back. He will come back. Don't worry.
I can kind of see why they went that route. He's here for a poker tournament. He's probably just having some fun.
Well, he's also a 40-some-year-old man.
Exactly.
We're not talking about a 13, 14-year-old here. Hopefully, in that situation, there would be a lot more urgency to the reporting. Jón's family in Iceland soon learned he was missing. Several family members flew out on February 12th to assist with the search. They were worried because Jón left the hotel without his phone, wallet, or passport. He also left his suitcase full of clothing at the hotel. It's possible that Jón had his debit card and some cash on him, which he likely intended to use for poker, but this is unconfirmed. However, no cash was found in his hotel room, which most likely indicates he had it with him. No one knows exactly why Jón decided to leave the hotel suddenly. His family noted that he was having some battery problems with his phone, but they weren't sure why he didn't take it with him. According to the outlet RTE, the police never searched Jón's hotel room. They didn't take his computer or phone.
Seems strange.
That does seem strange. At the very least, a search of the hotel room you would think would be warranted. Jón's sister, Anna, said that housekeeping cleaned the room, and the police asked for a sample of Jón's DNA the following day. Maybe another important part is, okay, maybe we don't clean this room right away.
Exactly.
But if they made the decision they weren't going to search it, what's the difference?
No, at that point, it's not a crime scene. It's not a...
Well, at least in their eyes.
Exactly.
But the thought is it most likely wasn't if he's seen leaving the hotel.
But does it hurt?
No, that was my point.
Yeah.
I don't know that anything was going to come from it, but would it hurt? And maybe you uncover something that no one else knew about, or, who knows?
It can't hurt to check the box on it.
His family checked his bank account and saw no activity on his cards. Jón's sister, Thorin, Jón's daughter, made a plea for information via Facebook. On February 19th, she described Jón as the rock in my life, adding, Jón is the most reliable and trustworthy person I know. And I'm certain that if you asked anyone around him, they would say the same thing. They would also tell you how odd this all is. It doesn't sound like him to just up and leave, and we don't believe that he did either. But we can't tell you what happened because we don't know. And we can't sit around and guess. It will drive us mad.
That is true. It will drive you mad.
Yeah, because you could come up with all kinds of scenarios. But they would just be that, right? Scenarios, theories. They wouldn't really be based on much of anything. Jón's brothers, David and Daniel, appeared on the Late Late Show on February 22nd to appeal for information. They noted that Jón left his hotel room without his wallet, passport, or phone, and said his disappearance was completely out of character. David told the host that Jón has no history of physical and mental problems. He's a father, a brother, a son. He's the oldest of 5 siblings. and he's always been there for his family and his loved ones. He's the rock of the family. Man, you really get a sense of this guy.
You do. He's like the foundation.
He's solid. He also seems like the glue that maybe kind of held the family together.
Yeah.
There's always one person in the family that is kind of the glue. You know, folks, when we started this podcast, it seemed like we had to figure out everything on our own. How to get a logo, how to actually upload and distribute an episode. It was super overwhelming. And every day seemed like there was a new challenge. Well, finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. For millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of all e-commerce in the US, Shopify has hundreds of ready-to-use templates to help you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. They help you easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Shopify was a game changer for our podcast merchandise. It just streamlined everything. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your 1 day per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/TCAT. Go to shopify.com/TCAT. Shopify.com/TCATT. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. Around 50 volunteers helped the family with a search on February 23rd. Volunteers went door to door to ask homeowners to review their CCTV footage. On February 24th, the police renewed their appeal for information. Inspector Mick Mulligan told the press, per the Irish Times, there are serious concerns for his safety at this stage as he has been missing for over 2 weeks. He added, we've nothing to indicate anything sinister may have happened to him. Our concern now is that it's unusual for him to go missing without making contact with family, either at home or here with him.
It is a long time to go missing in a foreign country. I think even in your own country for 2 weeks without making contact with people you care about.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, this inspector saying we've got concerns for his safety. I get that. But at the same time saying we don't have anything to indicate anything sinister may have happened to him. Mulligan said the police could not rule out the possibility that Jón left the country, but there was no information to suggest he had. So basically, he's saying that there are all these possibilities, but no information to suggest any of them are true, which unfortunately happens, right, in unsolved cases.
It does.
The police also spoke to other hotels in the area, the Dublin airport and the Dublin port, but they had no new leads. Jón's brother Daniel revealed that they found a potential piece of evidence during the search the day before. Daniel said, as quoted by Dublin Live, we have found a cigarette butt that we believe is from him, but we can't be sure. We then found the cigarette pack that we believe is his. At least it's the same type that he smokes. Now, if you were talking about a case here in the U.S., I don't know that finding a pack of cigarettes would mean that much. But my thought is that the cigarettes available in Iceland might be different than what's available in Ireland.
Yeah.
So it could be a little more meaningful, right? Especially if they found a pack of cigarettes, the brand that he smoked, that he brought with him from Iceland.
That you couldn't get there.
Yes. I don't know that to be true, but if that was the case, that could be pretty meaningful.
I think so.
These items were found on Grace Park Road in Drumcondra, a residential area in an inner suburb on the north side of Dublin. It's about 2 kilometers from Whitehall. Anna and Christiana would eventually convince the police to take Jón's electronics, but officers dismissed their suggestion to use a translator.
I don't know why that would be.
I don't either. Anna told RTE that when she got the computer back, she was convinced the police never looked through the device. So I think, from her perspective, she must have thought, Gibbs, that they only agreed to it to maybe get her off their backs.
Yeah.
But didn't really follow through with it.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah, give me that stuff. I'll take care of it. We'll look at it. Thanks.
But then they just gave it back to her and maybe said they did, but actually didn't. At least that's what she thought. Now, when she looked through Jón's emails, she saw that he had no emails between February and August 2019, which led her to question if things had been deleted. And I do think that's very strange. I get it. He went missing in February. But the fact that you go missing doesn't mean that emails just automatically stop coming in, right? So for there to be none between February and August seems very strange to me.
It's a long time with no emails.
Yeah. The police said they tried and failed to unlock Jón's phone, but when Anna got it back, she gave it to a friend who was able to open it. Okay. I mean, obviously, Anna, Christiana, they couldn't have a very favorable opinion of the police because I think, at least to them, it doesn't seem like they're doing much.
Yeah, I'm sure they're disappointed, not being taken seriously.
The family gave RTE access to the device, and their team was able to view his last internet searches. Jón searched for the Bonington Hotel, a restaurant called Mr. Fox, and a private address in the mountains of Dublin. As mentioned, Jón had never been to Dublin before. He didn't know the area or anyone in the city. So, it doesn't surprise me that he's searching the hotel, maybe a restaurant around there, but a private address in the mountains.
Well, that's got you suspicious, right?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to be questioning why that search was made. What does it mean? Months passed with no answers, and Jón's case went cold. On October 4th, 2020, the Irish Independent reported that the police were informed that Jón was killed accidentally by another Icelandic man after a falling out over squandered gambling money. The Independent reported that this information came from an inmate in Iceland who had an instrumental role in communicating a dramatic version of events now under investigation. The Independent published another article the following day stating that Jón was allegedly carrying 4,000 euros that he intended to give to an Icelandic criminal. The article stated that he entered an illegal poker game, lost the money, and was slapped about by some of the other players.
Maybe this is the private address up in the mountains.
Could be. After a tense conversation with his fiancée on the morning of February 9th, Jón allegedly went to meet the criminal, who killed him accidentally when their meeting got tense.
Accidentally killed him. How do you accidentally kill someone?
I don't know. You have your finger on the trigger of a gun and accidentally pull it?
I guess.
So this is an interesting, theory on the version of events that may have occurred, but where did it come from? Right? The newspaper said that it came from an inmate in Iceland. So you have to make of that what you will.
Yeah, how solid is that information?
On October 6, 2020, Jón's family issued a statement in response to the Independent's article. It read, "Early morning yesterday, The Independent published a very detailed and disturbing article about Jón's disappearance. In the article, the reporter claims that Jón's family was made aware of the information detailed in the article by an informant. This is utterly untrue, as no such information has been received by the family, nor have we received any leads from an imprisoned informant. Furthermore, our contacts at the police in Dublin and in Iceland have confirmed to members of the family that they haven't received any information, as described in the article, nor did they communicate any such information to the reporter, Ali Bracken, or the Independent. So the story is at best based on information from an unreliable source, or at worst, completely made up. Needless to say, the publishing of the story in the Independent and subsequently in Icelandic media has caused Jón's family unnecessary harm. The reporter, Ali Bracken, has shown grave negligence by writing an unsubstantiated story in such a delicate case and shown complete disrespect and disregard to Jón's family by publishing it. So has the Icelandic media that ran the story. The family is planning on submitting a formal complaint to Ireland's National Union of Journalists for Ali Bracken's and her editors at the Independent, i.e. breach of Articles 3 and 6 of the NUJ's Code of Conduct. We're also looking into further legal action against the Independent. We are further planning to submit a formal complaint to the Icelandic Journalists Association regarding the Icelandic journalists and their editors who publish stories based on the Independent story without taking into consideration Article 3 of the Code of Conduct, by which they should abide to. Respectfully, on behalf of Jón's family, Thorin Jónsdóttir.
Well, obviously they were very upset with how this article portrayed their brother.
Yeah, because it did kind of portray him in a negative light,
Sure
right?
did, yeah.
He's some type of illegal gambling. He lost a bunch of money. He owed money. He got roughed up. And then he got accidentally killed, and I'm using that in quotes, when he went to go pay the money back.
And since the police in either country weren't aware of it, it clearly distracts from the investigation, right?
Yeah, I think it does a couple of things. It does that because if they were to take it seriously or to believe in it, then, maybe their investigation goes in a different direction. And then, the second thing is what Jón's family said in their statement. It's caused them harm because you're bad-mouthing this person who's gone missing.
That's true.
In 2024, 5 years after Jón went missing, his family spoke to the media to issue a new call to action. Jón's brother David told RTE they were optimistic, adding, "We will do whatever it takes to just keep the case going and hopefully get some kind of closure." His sister Anna said, "Of course, we hope he's alive and he would just come with his tail between his legs. But for my part, I think it's not like that. I just want to find him, find what happened so we can all say goodbye, because it's hard to say goodbye if someone is not all gone."
Again, it's all around that closure, right? You want some type of closure. You need it.
Well, and it's something that we talk about a lot. At what point, if at any point, do some family members start to believe that, most likely our loved one is no longer alive? I think his sister's saying it here.
Yeah.
I'd love to think he's going to come home, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point.
Yeah. I think she's letting reality sink in.
The Ballymun Jardy, who are leading the investigation, reported that they had followed over 270 lines of inquiry. The police also revealed that during the investigation, they received 2 anonymous letters. They appealed to the writer or writers to contact them and promised any contact will be dealt with in the strictest confidence. Sources report that the first letter was received by the Ballymun Jardy station on August 31st, 2022. The second letter was given to a priest at his home near the police station on August 30th, 2023.
Almost a year later.
Yeah, almost exactly a year. On February 13th, 2024, police conducted a search at Santry Demesne Public Park in Dublin, supported by the Underwater Unit and specialist cadaver dogs. This park is about 3.5 kilometers from where Jón was last seen. The search team focused on a heavily wooded area and the deep lake. The search was prompted by the anonymous letters. According to RTE, the information in the letters is vague, but the writer claimed to have information about where Jón went after the last confirmed sighting by CCTV. And it's always interesting, Gibbs, in any case where you have communication from someone to the authorities.
Sure it is.
You know, whether it's the Zodiac letters or it's a killer who's taunting the police, BTK. Now, we don't know if this person is a killer, but you do have to ask the question, why are they writing in anonymously? And if their information is valid, how did they come to know that?
Exactly. Where did they get that information from?
Sources told the Irish Mirror that officers suspected Jón was killed on the day he went missing. Officers suspected he lost thousands of euros while playing poker and was meeting someone to get more money. But the meeting ended in violence, and Jón's body was possibly dumped in the park. The source said about the anonymous letters, there was enough information for a search to be commenced. So what does that mean? It's obvious they didn't just dismiss these letters as hoaxes.
Yeah, it sounds like they vetted them.
And there must have been at least enough in there that they decided they had to be taken seriously. Now, we don't know what that was, but it obviously led them to an area, this heavily wooded area, this deep lake. There must have been something in the letters about that area.
E-commerce business owners know a successful business keeps customers happy. That's why smart retailers use ShipStation. Turn shoppers into loyal customers with cheaper, faster, and better shipping. Manage all your orders and returns in one place and save up to 90% on rates from all the global carriers. Go to shipstation.com/program to sign up for your free trial. No credit card required, and you can cancel anytime. That's shipstation.com/program.
But this theory that the officers have is a little bit different than the theory that we talked about earlier, where Jón owed somebody money and was going to pay them back and was accidentally killed. Here they're saying he was going to someone to get more money, but ended up getting killed.
Needed to maybe see a loan shark, or who knows?
Who knows? We don't have enough information. On February 16th, the police announced that the search of the park had concluded with no further evidence found. There was another search of the park in October 2024 after a positive indication for human remains by a cadaver dog in training, but on further inspection, the area was ruled out. In 2025, Icelandic public service broadcasters, RTE and RUV, joined together to create the series, Where is Jón?, which examines his disappearance and death. They spoke to family and friends, including Jón's father, Jón Jónsson, who speculated that he could still be alive. Jón Sr. said, "I know it because I'm an alcoholic and I've been in a few relationships, and I know how to live a fucked up life. Even I have been trying all the time to make everything look good. For myself, I have the feeling, why not run away and start a new life? It's so nice to do that in the head, you know."
Okay. So Jón Sr.'s thinking maybe he just went out and started a new life.
Because he, Senior, had thought about doing that I guess, many times in his head.
Yeah.
And thought, oh, that would be great because I've already messed this one up.
Exactly.
Let me go start a new one. And he thought, well, maybe his son did that too.
Just took it to the next level.
Jón Sr. said Jón cut off contact with him and his paternal side of the family. After a disagreement over the family farm, Jón and his ex-wife rented it for 2 years. In their early 20s, Jón hadn't spoken to his dad in about 15 years at the time of his disappearance. That's a long time.
Well, maybe Jón Jr. didn't want anything to do with Jón Sr. because he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, maybe that plus the disagreement that they had. Obviously, something led to 15 years worth of no contact.
That's a long time.
Jón Sr. said in his interview, when you have one time being in a bad situation, like he was on the farm, and you have to take a bad decision like he did there, and even that bad, you stop talking to half of your family. What will you do next time you're in a bad situation? RUV reported that Jón spent 6 to 7 hours with an English poker player named Connor, who was with him until the early morning hours of February 9th. Connor saw Jón lose around 2,500 euros.
I mean, that's a healthy amount of money.
It is. It is. Connor told RUV, that's why I remember the event so well, because I was speaking to him. We were drinking together. I remember his drink very well because it was so strange. He was drinking vodka, whiskey, and Red Bull together. And I remember that because we bought each other a few rounds.
That is a strange mix.
It is. Now, vodka and Red Bull, I think a lot of people drink. Red Bull gets mixed with a lot of different things. Vodka and whiskey together just doesn't seem like it would be a great combo.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't care how much Red Bull you throw in there. Connor estimated that Jón lost 4 to 5 buy-ins to poker games, which were 500 euros each. Connor recalled, I can say quite confidently that Jón lost a good 4 to 5 buy-ins on my table within a few hours. I did remember thinking, this could just be ignorance. I remember thinking that when he was losing quite a lot, let's say 2,500, I remember thinking that's maybe quite a lot for a taxi driver. But that's not to say that he didn't have other incomes or he didn't save up specifically for the tournament. And that's a great point, right? We did mention it early on that he was a taxi driver. I'm not sure this was a guy who had a ton of money. Now, did he make money playing poker? Possibly.
Maybe.
Some people do.
And maybe he saved up for this big tournament too.
But there's no doubt, at least according to Connor and others, that he lost quite a bit. And in fact, he even told that to, his fiancée. So it's pretty well documented.
Not only did he lose quite a bit, he lost it really early in the tournament as well.
Yeah, fairly quickly.
And that's the worst feeling, right? When you...
Most demoralizing.
Absolutely it is.
Because they were scheduled to be there, 10 days? I think it was. I think the tournament was scheduled for 10 days. So, if he lost most of his bankroll on the first day, that would be tough. I'm sure that's not how he thought that this vacation, this poker tournament was going to go.
Yeah.
Jón didn't seem frustrated by his losses, and he moved to another table around 3 a.m. Now, we did talk about it earlier that Jón was the treasurer for a satellite tournament in Reykjavik that gave players admittance to the poker tournament in Dublin. Jón was in charge of his own money and also 2,500 euros that belonged to the other Icelandic players who were traveling to Dublin for the tournament, which he kept in an envelope. Jón's fiancée, Christiana, refuted suggestions that his disappearance was linked to financial losses. She explained that they had saved up 5,000 euros for the tournament and sightseeing in Dublin. But Gibbs, this thought that he potentially lost money that actually belonged to some other Icelandic players. That, adds another element to the case.
It does.
Did somebody find that out?
Right. I mean, if they can't account for that money, did it get used in a tournament? Did it get used in a private game?
Now, according to what his fiancée said, that would have meant that he probably had, at the very least, $7,500 on him.
Right.
So I don't know that losing the $2,500, although that would have been half of what he had saved, it's a chunk. But unless he lost a bunch more somewhere else that was unaccounted for, I don't know that he lost the money that was designated for these other people.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Could have just been on his person. The weird thing about poker is, I don't know if it's weird, it's just how it works for some people, is when you lose, you feel like it's okay. You're just around the corner from getting it all back. But to get it all back, you got to have some money to get it back. So you go ahead and you risk more money because you're like, you know what? I almost had that hand. Should have been my hand. So the next time it's going to be my hand. So I'll go ahead and reach in my pocket or go to the machine and get some money out or whatever. Borrow some money from this guy over here because I know I'm going to hit it. And then what happens? You don't hit it.
You remember when we went to CrimeCon in Vegas?
Yeah.
You remember all those great, big, beautiful casinos?
Oh, I do.
There is a reason why they make a boatload of money.
That is true.
Some people win, but the house always wins.
Absolutely it does. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there.
RTE and RUV also revealed information about a potential suspect in the case. Two sources independently reached out to members of the family in 2020 to suggest Jón was killed by someone with criminal connections. Jón's stepbrother, Gunnar Dan Wiem, received a call from someone who said Jón was killed by a man named Alex, a fake name assigned by RTE because his real identity cannot be made public. Gunnar was told the alleged killer was a hitman and was hired to take out someone else, but killed Jón by accident in a case of mistaken identity. Gunnar, an addiction counselor, called a friend who previously dealt with addiction who had links to the criminal underworld. He was told that Alex was living in Iceland and owed money to the Albanian mafia.
Well, that's not good.
Well, I don't think it's good if you owe money to any mafia.
Especially the Albanians.
Does that make it even worse?
It does.
But this is, it's interesting. I don't know what you make of it. Someone just kind of calls out of the blue and says, hey, I know that your stepbrother was killed by someone, a hitman, but it was an accident, a case of mistaken identity.
Well, does that go back to one of the earlier stories that he was killed accidentally?
It could.
Yeah.
Again, if there's any validity to it. Now, the family didn't put much stock in the tip until Jón's sister, Anna, reported that she received the same information from another source close to Alex. No link had been found between the two sources who gave the same information. Okay. Again, if that's all true, it does lead some credence to that being possibly what happened. If you have two different people who have no link to each other giving the same information, that would make it a little more likely than not that it's true.
Yeah, I think you have to definitely look into it.
Anna reported the tip to the police in Iceland, who shared it with Irish authorities. RTE tracked down a source close to Alex who claimed Alex called them and said he killed Jón because he mistook him for someone else. Alex had been in Dublin for several days, waiting for this target to arrive. According to RTE, Alex has not been interviewed by the police in Ireland or Iceland. His whereabouts remain unknown. Another anonymous source, whom RTE identified as Victor, said he was a member of the Icelandic poker community. He said there were people in Iceland who wanted to get revenge on a man who was attending the Dublin Poker Festival the same weekend as Jón. Jón was mistaken for this man. And that was kind of my first thought when this alleged hitman said he killed Jón in a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
My thought is, if he went over there and was waiting for someone to arrive at the Dublin Poker Festival, most likely it was someone coming from Iceland.
Yeah.
Because he was from Iceland.
So the hitman says, oh, look, there's an Icelandic man. That might be him.
So you're telling me that you can tell someone is Icelandic just by looking at them?
They have a very distinctive look.
I do not believe they do.
I can pick an Icelandic man, woman out of a crowd.
Oh my gosh. I think you're full of it. But, I do think the theory, now we have no idea if this is true or not, but you'd have to say it's plausible.
Oh, for sure.
You have a bunch of people in this Icelandic poker community. Poker, by its very nature, because there can be quite a bit of money involved, can create animosity. Is it that far-fetched to think that someone got ticked off? They wanted someone killed. Jón was over there. They thought this guy looked like the person they were supposed to kill, and they killed Jón by mistake.
They probably sent the picture for proof. The individuals on the side that ordered it, they were probably like, yeah, that's not him. You got the wrong guy.
Victor said he didn't recognize the alleged suspect's name, but said it didn't surprise him. Victor said the alleged killer was unlikely to have been a member of the Icelandic poker community because Jón was well known and would not have been mistaken for someone else. So again, I don't know that this alleged hitman was part of the poker community, which meant he wouldn't have known Jón. But I think what Victor's saying is it probably wasn't someone in that community who went over to Dublin to kill someone and then ended up killing Jón, because they would have known who Jón was. It was reported that Jón's sister, Anna, received a call recently from a friend who gave Alex's full name. She was told he was a hitman who owed money to the Lithuanian mafia in Iceland. Okay, so if we're comparing the Lithuanian mafia to the Albanian mafia, what are we talking here, Gibbs?
Oh, two good mafias, but I'll put money on the Albanians.
Okay, so you're still viewing them as the ones to be more fearful of.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know where they rank in your mafia list. I know you've worked with quite a few around the world.
Handful.
Anna sent a photo of the suspect that matched an image previously found by RTE. RTE also revealed that Christiana's car has been targeted multiple times since Jón disappeared. Her car was broken into and her tires were slashed on 3 separate occasions. The incidents appeared to coincide with media coverage of the case. It happened twice in 2019, after she appeared on Irish and Icelandic media asking for information from the public. There were no further incidents until the search in the park. In February 2024, her car was targeted twice in 3 weeks. So why would that be? Is someone trying to send a message saying, hey, you need to stop talking about this?
Clearly, it's exactly what they're trying to get across.
Well, obviously, she's not taking the hint, or she's not scared and doesn't care. She's still doing it. Christiana also mentioned something that in June 2019, after she appeared on the Irish crime program Crime Call, she received 2 calls from an Irish mobile number. The first while she was still in Ireland, and the second when she returned to Iceland. She could hear someone on the other end, but no one spoke. The Irish police contacted the owner of the number, who said they did not remember making the calls. But she refused to believe it was a misdial. And the police told her that the owner of the number lived near where Jón was last seen.
So then do you wonder, did that individual have anything to do with Jón, or was it Jón that called?
I would lean towards more likely the former.
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, the Irish police know that this person lived near where Jón was last seen. Where did it go from there? There just wasn't much on it. Another woman told RTE that she received a threatening phone call in the summer of 2019 that was seemingly intended for Christiana. A man berated her and told her if a certain family member didn't fall in line, he would end up like Jón. She was confused because the family member he mentioned was dead. But before he hung up, he addressed her as Christiana. The police traced the call to a convenience store on the street where Christiana and Jón used to live. The shop is also in the same building as a poker club Jón used to frequent. In March 2025, the Jardy enlisted the help of Europol, the EU law enforcement agency. Investigators intend to use the agency to help coordinate with the Icelandic police and follow up on new leads, including the tip that Jón was murdered by a hitman in a case of mistaken identity. Despite requests from the family, the police have not upgraded the case to a formal murder investigation. Jón's family has also requested that all areas of Santry Demesne Park that match the description of the letters be searched. The family did not feel the search was done properly.
That's a reasonable request.
In April 2025, police in Dublin conducted 4 new searches because they received new information after RTE released their series on Jón's disappearance. In June 2025, Detective Superintendent Alan Brady led a delegation of officers to Reykjavik to interview 46 people. Some of them were convicted criminals, family, friends, or Jón's associates in the poker world. Brady told the press per the Sunday World, "There's been a lot of rumor about what happened to Jón in Dublin, that his death was linked to the poker community here. Even rumors of a hitman. We believe that whatever happened to Jón happened in Ireland, but we also think that the answers to what happened lie among the Iceland community." And to me, that's a very interesting statement. Yes, we know, or we believe, right, that something happened to him in Ireland. But this guy's saying that although it happened to him over there, it's related to either someone or some community in Iceland.
Yeah. It kicks off over in Iceland.
Yes, possibly the poker community or something like that. The police have not ruled anything out, including murder, suicide, or an accident. Brady also stated that the police believed Jón lost between 3,000 and 4,000 euros the night before his disappearance. They established that the money he lost was sent over within a few hours from people in Iceland, and it has been suggested to us by people that he could have come to some harm by people involved in criminality. We followed up every avenue, and there are lots of theories. Brady also said that they had met with Jón's family and built bridges. 6 years later, Jón Jónsson has not been seen or heard from. Jón is described as 6 foot tall, with a medium build and short brown hair. He was last seen wearing a padded black jacket, a blue shirt, black jeans, and dark sneakers. If you have any information about Jón's disappearance, you can contact the Jardy at Ballymun at 016664400. You can contact their confidential telephone line at 1-800-666-111 or contact any Jardy station. So Gibbs, as we wrap this one up, there is a ton of intrigue here, as there is in a lot of unsolved cases. But I think you have this poker angle. There's quite a bit of money possibly involved.
Sure.
He's in one country, lives in another country. You have this Icelandic poker community, a possible or alleged hitman from Iceland, contracted by someone over there, who goes to Dublin and possibly kills Jón in a case of mistaken identity.
It can happen.
It could have happened that way. Now, it would have been over something to do with poker or money, probably, or something along those lines. And I do think if he met with foul play, even if it was a mistake, it had something to do with poker/money. Either he was trying to get more, he owed somebody money.
Yeah.
He had spent money that wasn't his. I mean, there are a number of different avenues to go down. I do think it's a hard case because multiple countries are involved. If you look at Jón's family, I get the sense that they don't feel as though the police over in Dublin kind of did all that they could do or should have done.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true.
It's tough. You don't have a body, right?
Yeah, first of all, you don't know he's dead.
That's exactly right. You don't know what happened. Just speculation.
Yeah, they have very little to go on, but, if they took, like, let's say his computer and devices and said, yeah, we'll check on him, and then never did. Okay, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the phone open, but yet someone in the family gets it open with presumably no technical training, but the police and all their tools can't get the phone open. They couldn't, or they didn't try.
Yeah. Which one was it?
And that's the question, right? How much effort did they really put in? They did some searches.
I'll be hopeful and say that I hope that things develop over the next year or two.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is something here. This case can be solved. Doesn't mean it will, but you have already had some anonymous sources come through.
Yeah.
Could they come back around? Could they give more information? Could they go on the record?
Well, that'd be great.
Yeah, there's some possibilities.
Yeah.
But that's it for our episode on the disappearance of Jón Jónsson. I had a voicemail queued up, but for some reason it won't play.
Oh.
Due to technical difficulties. But that happens every now and then.
So no voicemail?
So no voicemail today.
Well, I'll tell you where I went this weekend.
How about that?
I went to Uranus. And
how'd you like it?
And that's the whole thing about this store. It's called Uranus.
Uh-huh.
They make fudge. Imagine that. And so you see all these signs. The billboards are funny. They got multiple locations throughout the U.S., but this one's over in Richmond, and it's
Indiana.
Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's Uranus. The best fudge comes from Uranus. Is what the signs say.
Oh, I got to go visit one of these stores.
There's things like the shirts they have that say, and the slogans and stuff that I can't say. It's not proper to say, but...
Well, let me ask you this. Did you get some of the fudge?
I did.
Was it good?
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really good fudge. As they say, they pack it well.
It's fun. It's a funny gimmick.
Very
marketing gimmick.
Yes, for sure.
To get people to stop in.
Yeah, they have fudge. They got ice cream. And then, of course, they have all the funny coffee cups, shirts, things like that. So,
well, now I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
There you go. It's if you're nearby, it's worth going in. You're waste about a half an hour in there,
just looking at
stuff. And maybe you walk out with some peanut butter or chocolate fudge.
I've never had it.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it. Do they have any in Ohio or no?
I don't know. This is they opened just a few months ago, but they have other locations where they've been at for a while.
Okay.
So, yeah, Uranus.
All right. Sounds good.
There's my story.
So with that, that's another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
Just when you thought summer couldn't get any hotter. Pluto TV is turning up the heat with thousands of free movies. Presenting Summer of Cinema. Stream your favorite blockbuster films like Gladiator.
I will have my vengeance.
Good Burger.
This is what I call fast food.
Beverly Hills Cop. The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. And Julie and Julia.
Bon appetit.
All for free on your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
Summer might be winding down, but there's still time to make it count. From now through August 31st, borrow $5,000 to $25,000 with rates as low as 8.7% APR. Planning your next adventure instead? Hit the road this fall with an RV loan starting at just 6.74% APR. Whether it's one last summer splash or the start of a new season of travel, Parta is here to help you make it happen.